Imagine a man so wealthy that when he traveled, entire civilizations felt the shockwaves of his footsteps. Gold lost its value simply because he passed through. This is not a metaphor. It is not legend dressed up as exaggeration. It is history's most unsettling financial paradox. A single human being walking across continents, accidentally collapsing economies, not through war, not through conquest, but through generosity. His name was Mansa Musa, and if wealth is power, then no person in recorded history ever held more power than he did. The bold claim sounds almost irresponsible in a modern world obsessed with billionaires, stock tickers, and net worth rankings. Richer than emperors. Richer than oil tycoons. Richer than tech founders. Richer than entire nations. Historians hesitate to even assign him a number because his wealth wasn't just immense, it was structurally uncountable. It was embedded in land, in people, in trade routes, in the earth itself. Mansa Musa didn't merely own gold. He ruled over where gold came from. And that distinction changes everything. To understand how this was possible, we have to travel back nearly 700 years to a world before Europe dominated global trade, before the Atlantic became history's main artery. This was a time when the center of gravity lay elsewhere across the sands of the Sahara, long caravans that moved like slow rivers of salt, ivory, books, and gold. West Africa was not a peripheral wilderness. It was a beating heart of commerce and knowledge. And Mali was its crown. The Mali Empire emerged from older kingdoms, rising quietly but steadily in the 13th century. Its power didn't come from stone castles or armored knights. It came from geography. Mali sat astride the most valuable trade routes on earth. To the north lay salt mines essential for survival. To the south lay forests rich with gold. Whoever controlled the space between them controlled the economy of the medieval world. Mali didn't just participate in trade. It regulated it, taxed it, protected it, monetized it. Mansa Musa was born into this system, but not at its peak. He was not born into effortless glory. His early life is wrapped in shadows, fragments, oral tradition. What we know is that he belonged to the Keita dynasty, a royal line forged by struggle, exile, and survival. This was a family shaped by uncertainty, by the constant threat of internal rivals and external enemies. Power in Mali was not inherited casually. It was tested. Before Musa became emperor, he was a deputy, a placeholder. The ruler before him embarked on an ambitious expedition to explore the Atlantic Ocean and never returned. The throne did not pass through triumph. It passed through absence. Musa ascended not because of conquest, but because the sea swallowed his predecessor. Power came to him quietly, almost reluctantly, and that silence would prove deceptive. When Musa took the throne around 1312, Mali was already strong. But strength is not destiny. Many empires plateau. Many rulers coast. Musa did the opposite. He centralized authority, tightened control over trade, and expanded territory. Under his rule, Mali stretched across what are now multiple modern nations. But Musa understood something deeper than borders. He understood perception. Power, he knew, was not only about what you had. It was about what the world believed you had. And so, in 1324, Mansa Musa did something that would rupture the global imagination. He announced his pilgrimage to Mecca. The Hajj was a religious obligation, yes. But for Musa, it was also a stage. And he did not travel like other pilgrims. He traveled like a moving empire. Tens of thousands accompanied him, soldiers, officials, servants, musicians, merchants, camels laden with gold, slaves carrying staffs of pure metal. Every stop along the way became a spectacle. Cairo, Medina, Mecca, cities that had seen sultans and caliphs stared in disbelief. Musa gave gold away freely to the poor, to scholars, to traders, to rulers. He paid for mosques. He settled debts. He tipped so extravagantly that markets warped under the pressure. Gold, once rare, suddenly flooded the economy. Prices soared. Currency destabilized. Inflation followed him like a curse. In Cairo, the effects lasted over a decade. Imagine a billionaire today crashing global markets simply by being generous. That was the scale. That was the impact. But here's the irony. The richest man who ever lived didn't understand the full consequences of his wealth. Or perhaps he didn't accept them as collateral. Power, after all, is rarely clean. News of Mansa Musa spread faster than any caravan. European mapmakers who barely acknowledged Africa beyond myths began drawing Mali at the center of their world. On the Catalan Atlas of 1375, Musa sits enthroned, holding a nugget of gold so large it looks unreal. To medieval Europe, he wasn't just a king. He was Africa personified, mysterious, abundant, terrifyingly rich. But Musa wasn't merely a spender, he was a builder. When he returned from Mecca, he brought back architects, scholars, poets, jurists. He transformed Timbuktu from a trading post into an intellectual capital. Libraries rose. Mosques became universities. Manuscripts multiplied. Knowledge flowed alongside gold. At its height, Timbuktu housed tens of thousands of students. Its scholars debated theology, law, astronomy, mathematics. Books were traded like commodities, sometimes more valuable than gold. This was not an empire of brute force. It was an empire of ideas, and yet the same wealth that elevated Mali also planted the seeds of fear. Outside its borders, Musa became a symbol of imbalance. How could one man control so much? How could one land hold such disproportionate wealth? Suspicion followed admiration. Envy followed awe. Inside the empire, power concentrated. Administration grew complex. Succession became fragile. When Musa died around 1337, he left behind a titan but also a challenge. His heirs lacked his discipline, his vision, his restraint. Gold continued to flow, but cohesion weakened. Provinces rebelled. Rivals encroached. Trade routes shifted. The world was changing. Europe was waking up. The Atlantic beckoned. New technologies reshaped warfare. Mali, vast and wealthy, became harder to defend. Over time, its dominance faded not in collapse, but in erosion. A slow forgetting. And yet, traces remain. In manuscripts hidden in desert libraries, in oral histories passed down by griots, in maps that once placed Africa at the center of the world, Mansa Musa's legacy is not just about wealth, it's about a moment when global power looked very different from what we assume today. Modern economists try and fail to calculate his net worth. Some throw around numbers, $400 billion, $500 billion, more. But these figures miss the point. Musa's wealth wasn't liquid. It was systemic. He owned the means, not just the money. He controlled production, distribution, belief, and that's the haunting question his story leaves behind. What is wealth, really? Is it a number on a screen? Or is it the ability to reshape reality, to bend markets, influence culture, and leave echoes centuries later? Mansa Musa reminds us that history is not a straight line. Power shifts. Centers move. Civilizations rise and vanish. And sometimes, the richest man who ever lived doesn't leave behind skyscrapers or corporations, but stories so powerful they still destabilize our understanding of the world. Because somewhere beneath the modern obsession with billionaires and rankings, there is an uncomfortable truth. We have forgotten how vast power